Hey everybody, we are back. So going in on the closing of this little mini adventure as
Let's try to close this box.
Yeah, that's right. Let's try and close this box as Monsieur, Joyeux, and Miss Miranda Russell have come upon a mysterious contraption of ancient design. With green glows abound, we return to the action in the police station right now as you close the door on the unconscious Sergeant Mornay as he slides down the door face first and
Drool
spiraling down, and the camera's kind of like as we come back from break, or however you want to say it. The camera opens up and there's the police station, and people are starting to slowly feel sick and abdominal pain, and they start to collapse, kind of what you were saying, Miranda. And then as we come back into the room, the two of you are standing on either side of the table. Pardon me. And you have that cube. It's this odd-looking. The base structure of it is a cube, but the bands have come around almost like a bowed shape on all the four sides, and within it is suspended.
It's a circular cube.
Yeah, it's got kind of like an odd combination of shapes, and as your eyes are kind of trying to watch it, it's almost like it's hard to see where one part of the shape begins and it becomes circular and the other part becomes square, as your mind is trying to kind of reconcile it. So yeah, then you have this little green dot. It's maybe about the size of a little pea in the middle that's just glowing this emerald green glow that's bathing in the whole room in that light. But yeah, you guys got that going on in your eyes too. So what do you do?
Well, I'm not sure what I do yet, but everything that's going through Miranda's head is this in some way looks like it's a containment structure of some sort, or even maybe like a prison of some sort. So what kind of creature or thing or whatever that she's racking her brain through Chinese mythology and things to see what this might be in there, and how quickly she could close it before she releases whatever the heck it might potentially be.
Okay, all right. Let's see here then. Let's I think, don't you have a history skill there?
I certainly do.
So I use that. And then Joyeux, what are your thoughts right now? What are you thinking?
I'm following about the same thought process. I mean, whatever this thing is, it's in a cage, and whoever made it seems to have had clear intent to keep it in there.
Right.
And considering people are passing out outside, and there's glowing eyes, it would probably be in everybody's best interest to keep it closed for the moment.
Right. Okay. Any thoughts on the idea that you both are still standing upright while people outside are passing out?
I'm just hoping we can close it before we pass out.
Fair enough.
But
I think we should probably get it closed before people realize that we're not passed out and think we're responsible for this, although we almost certainly are.
It's a little, yeah, exactly. It's a bit strange, though, that she is realizing that for some reason the people in the room aren't being affected in the same way that the people outside of it are, and also that it's not everyone outside the room, it's only those in a certain distance. So there's clearly some kind of effect, but she doesn't quite understand it.
Okay. All right. So you're looking at your history, right?
Yes, I roll that.
Okay. Let's see here.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Where'd it go? Lost it. There we go. I wasn't on the right screen to see it. Okay, cool. That's 2. Okay, so thinking back on some of your ancient Chinese history, or some of the stuff that you've studied in a long time ago, is one of the symbols on the box does bear it's the one that is built into the word that makes up morning.
Okay.
In your translation. And when you're seeing that particular portion of the glow, and that incessant tone is still kind of ringing in your ears. You're thinking that part of that word is standing out a little bit more. One of the symbols is standing out a little bit more, and it's the symbol that leads to the word Shen, or spirit. Mm-hmm. And let's see here. The feeling that you get from that word as you're listening to it is it mixes with the phrase that you were repeating, the ones that you saw. The green morning is our past and future. So the link that you're getting with your history, the role that you just did, is mm-hmm. that word kind of stands out as part of the word morning. It's almost like a spirit born in morning, a spirit put to bed at dusk. I mean, it's hard to kind of derive it based on what you've seen so far. But
okay.
But yeah, that one part of that word does stand out as spirit or Shen.
Okay. Having thought that, let me see something real quick. So that was on my history. Okay. Language. Would that lead me to, like, is that basically the that's all I remember, or would that memory, that realization, possibly spark a thought in a different direction? Or because I'm thinking, like, should I do another role, as in I've learned this thing, this made sense, and now I'm thinking about it in this light?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I can see that. What are you looking to try and derive from that?
History would have brought me the recognition of the symbol in some way, and then either a more in-depth look at the language itself, using the language skill, or something from research, that jogs a memory of something that I've researched that might make sense, that might have shed some light on it.
Okay.
Either way, I mean, if not, that's fine too.
That works. No, that works. I think that works. Let's see here.
Thank you, James.
All right. Yeah, go ahead. I think that'll work.
Which one? The research or the language?
The language. I'm sorry. The language.
Okay.
I think that would work the best because, again, with the way you learn languages as a linguist is to kind of, we were talking about at the beginning of the session, is that you really are focusing on who are these people that would build this sort of a language. The way I kind of picture your character, you're more of like a foundational learner. You're not just there to like do the Rosetta Stone. You're actually there to say, okay, the language stemmed from, I want to learn Spanish, but I know it stemmed from Latin, and here's how it came across to Spain because the Romans were down here and they went along the road, and then they got influenced by the Arabs, and all this stuff, right? That's kind of the kind of character that you strike me as. So, yeah, so that's why I think language would work, and you already rolled it while I was sitting there jabbering on.
Yeah, it's a good one too.
Sorry. Okay, so let's see. Wow!
Right?
Mother of Zeus! Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
Three ones and 3 sixes.
Wow.
So yeah.
That is really.
I want to use language whenever possible. Let me tell you, because that's the most dice I have in anything.
Okay.
Holy crap.
Okay, so you're thinking about that core word, right? You're thinking about that core word spirit, and you're thinking about how it's been put together in this sentence, and you're thinking back on how in this dynasty, one of the things that's been only recently uncovered about this particular dynasty, again, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation here, but the Quincy dynasty, is that it was one of the first dynasties that used those terracotta soldiers, the ones that were put together to kind of guard their temples.
Yes, I've seen them.
And when you're thinking about the spirit, you're thinking about some of the things that you've read about and maybe seen, and you're reminded of how precious the person who is buried, how precious they are, and how much they needed to be protected, that sort of thing. And that sometimes it didn't just take the binding of a person's visage to ingrain them here. And when you see this word spirit, the way it's been put together with these other words, there's also a physical formation of the writing as you're looking at this pattern, and you realize that as Chinese write their characters, it's not just about how the characters are represented, it's how they're built, it's how they're written, it's how they're formed. And this not only forms how there's something else that's being held here. There's not just a physical nature, but there's a spiritual nature that's being held here. And the reason you keep getting drawn over to these terracotta soldiers is that that's a physical representation of what it would mean to be marching into the afterlife. Right?
Okay.
This phraseology here is talking about dwelling and existing in the afterlife.
So, am I thinking we've disturbed someone's spirit? Or am I thinking more of a spirit that is connected to the other world?
You're thinking of
or
something...
a guardian spirit. Or, I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of all three, and here's why. Because, what do you have here? Let me look at your character issue real quick. I gotta do something for Ambrose. Let's see here. I'll have you give me a wits. Give me a wits check.
You asked me to make a roll, and I did.
Yeah. I can't talk and type at the same time, sorry. I told you, old age is a heck of a thing. Let's see here.
See, you did something.
So have you go ahead, Miss Russell, if you could roll a wits, and no black die penalty on that one.
3. Okay.
Let's see, here's you got... Alright, okay.
I roll another one.
Yeah, roll that 6.
Nice. I hit on something I'm good at.
Rolls today, Miss Russell.
Well, it's just these last two. The ones before that were not so good.
And they were average. These are good.
Which is bad. Average is bad in this game. There's no in between. There's no like, well, you might be able to do it with a 5. No.
All right. Let's see here. It's per se, but all right. There. Okay. So, Miss Russell, you were looking at this, and as you're trying to like piece this together, this puzzle that's in front of you, you were saying, is it one of these three aspects that you were kind of hypothesizing? You feel that it is all three because the tone starts to kind of build in your head. It's that C note, that C tone is kind of building in your head, and you realize that it's, for some reason, you're made to think of a time a few years back when you were at a particular place, and over in the distance where you were away from the place where you would stay, like in a particular camp or whatever, you heard a bell being set or sounded. And there was 2 bells that were kept in the camp. One was to warn of danger, the other one was to summon people to the camp for food. And for some reason you're thinking of that latter feeling. It's like
we're summoning a spirit?
It's summoning something, and whether it's a spirit or it's a spirit summoning something, you're not sure.
Okay. But there's something that's being summoned that do I get a positive or negative feeling about it, or I don't get a feeling at all?
It just is.
Okay.
This is it's almost like back to the dials. its function.
Okay.
You turn it in the wrong way, it's going to protect itself, and it's going to bring it back.
Joyeux, I believe that this contraption is meant to summon something. And I'm not sure yet what it's meant to summon, or whether it's already summoned the thing, but I have a feeling that we may have gotten in over our heads on this, and that perhaps we need someone with some more skills in spiritualism than either of us have. So I'm pondering how we might go about closing this thing. And my thought is mess with those dials again. What say you?
Oh boy.
So I'm looking at Alyssa's face right now, and I'm seeing Joy's face as far as reaction. So what are you?
Yeah, it's about his reaction right now.
So what is Joy's reaction to Miranda's words? Is he just kind of silent, or when she looks at you, what do you look like? Is that kind of that face that kind of stunned?
It was that. I think it's already here.
Well, maybe, but I don't really know what to do with it if it is here, other than try to put it back.
Oh boy.
This really is, sadly, out of my area of expertise.
It makes two of us.
Yes, well,
There's a, you hear the sound of something sliding against the door. And the door kind of like presses inward a little bit, but it doesn't open, but like there's a weight against it. And then the door comes back and rests as normal.
yeah, I want to go... So it's standing up on those little, like, edges that came out. Are the dials sticking out in any way still?
They're in their respective spots. Right now they're free of... So again, they're kind of like on all four corners, and then there's 2 dials diagonally on each side. So it kind of like covers the open spaces, or the portions of the wood that still remain close to each other. Because again, it kind of has that framed square shape for the wood, and then the bands form almost a spherical cage. But the dials themselves are kind of braced on little cogs and wheels, like within, like under the bit. You can actually see into the base of the dial here, and you can see like a little. It almost looks like a feather that's spinning, and it spins so fast that you can actually see the shape of the feather that's there, as the mechanism is just whirring.
Okay, so maybe I got all that, maybe I didn't quite get all that, but can I get...
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, can I actually, like, access the gears, or are they inside that metal wrap area?
I'm so sorry, yeah, you can see into the gear mechanisms, but yeah, you can access the gears.
Well, that's fine. So. No, it's just... I'm trying to visualize, and it's late, so I can't visualize it.
I totally get it.
I was like, wait,
cool.
There's a feather,
Totally
and it's
cool.
spinning, and I'm confused. Okay, so I want to try to, try to fit my fingers into the mechanisms again, into the gears again, and see if I can turn it in any way that might, cause it to close all back up again.
Right.
Yeah. We're gonna need to close this thing up right now.
Alright, so let's see here. So we'll have do this. Pull the gears out here. That, so I can grab that. So yeah, so now the gears are kind of free of that wood. Whoa. Land's sakes,
Kind of ran off there.
I went all bonkers on me.
Yeah,
forget it. Anyway,
it looked like a slide with amoebas on it.
yeah. It kind of turned and all weird and stuff.
We're breeding cells.
Yeah. So this would be kind of along the top of the contraption with the bands and stuff that are kind of going in between. So you can access the gears again.
Okay. I want to try to turn them, but see if they will turn in either the same direction, a different direction. See what happens as I kind of fiddle with them. What way does it feel like they should be moving?
You can feel they're going the opposite direction. It seems nothing too crazy. I mean, it's just because you're working with their gears again. Okay. What are you gonna do, Joyeux? Are you gonna help? Wait.
He's just standing there, and he just says, "Who's outside?"
I'm less worried about who's outside than who might be coming. So, I don't know, you can try to look if you like, but personally I'm going to try to focus on getting this thing closed. Which might require your hands, by the way. You know, those things you said you wanted to keep?
Shh, it's talking.
It's talking?
Can you hear? You can hear me, right? Now he's focusing on the thing in the cage right now.
Oh dear. Okay.
They keep up with
Things
it.
are happening.
Let's see here. Alright. So, it's not selecting it properly. This is when engine owning becomes a bother. Alright. So the box. So what are you doing now, Miranda? Are you still?
I was trying to adjust it, but if she's talking to or he's talking to something in the box, I might be kind of stopping and, you know, I probably would stop what I'm doing while he's talking and look at him kind of strangely. But, you know, obviously I'm not going to be able to do this with, you know, just my 2 hands. I think I need 4 hands for this. So.
For you, Miranda, let's see here. Thinking. So for you, Miranda, on the boxes, you're kind of looking at the dials and looking at Joyeux and looking back at the dials. You're seeing a couple other runes are glowing a little bit more than the others, and it seems that they're almost kind of starting to form a different phrase at this point.
Okay, can I read it?
It's starting to take shape as the marks and stuff start to change and turn, and it's almost kind of like as they move, they go back to that kind of like whitish glow, but then as they get closer together, they start to form more of a green glow that matches the little kernel that's in the middle of the box or the middle of that cage.
Okay. So I can't read it yet, but the words are just still forming.
They're starting to form, yeah. It's still saying green morning.
Keep an eye on that.
It says the green morning, and it just says the green morning is. And then it stops.
And Joyeux still talking to something?
Yes.
Okay.
Or at least he's kind of like listening. And so what was the last question that you asked? You asked something.
Me or?
Sorry, Alyssa, what did you do? Or what are you doing, I guess.
I totally blanked out.
Well, I think what she said was could it hear her, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
okay.
then it said that. Oh boy. It might be in everyone's best interest in this room if no one is allowed in right now.
Okay. I concur. Dude, what's going on, Joyeux?
This is bad.
So Joy, when you're looking at the box and you're listening, a couple of things stand out to you also within sigils themselves as they're starting to kind of reform. And you're kind of picking up a little bit on what Miranda was saying, what she had found. It is a calling. It's like somebody calling out from somewhere like deep and hidden away for like help. Like it's saying, you know, come to me and bring me forth, that sort of thing. That's what these sigils are kind of representing. They're representing a calling for assistance, but it's such a visceral and passionate call that it goes beyond, like, you know, a child that's in a well and trying to call for his parents. It's an aging parent that's, you know, trying to call out for their children to come and help them in this dark place. It's just all of these types of things, like the deepest bonds of emotional connection that you can find are being cast outward with these sigils and expecting a return.
So this is sounding like souls calling for help. Yes? Is that what we're feeling? Or... that sounds pretty traumatic. Is that what you're getting out of this, Joyeux? Or are you getting something different?
Its protectors are here. What does it mean by that? I can't actually just let the police in here. I need to look. I'm gonna go check the door.
You want to go in?
Okay.
Yeah.
1 sec. I just want to do some real super fast. This is what happens, kids, at home when you're trying to gather all your notes digitally. I don't know if I would fare much better if they were all printed out either. So
that's why I had to grab my character sheet and paper.
Oh boy.
I'm so sorry. Because this part is like kind of reaching into your past, Ambrose. I don't want to like cast anything out there.
Man.
Was lost. Oh, are you serious? I typed all that and it didn't send. Hey, actually, Miranda, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you pull your headphones off real quick?
Oh, sure, yeah.
And then I'll go like this when it's ready. Okay. Okay. All right. So you haven't felt this level of anguish, and the only thing comparable you can compare it to is when September was lost. So it was that cry of their sister, you know, their twin, trying to like call out to them. It's like, where are they? Why aren't you answering me? That sort of thing. So it's kind of comparable to that. And that's where it kind of like feels like a real huge gut punch as you're turning back towards the door, and that sound, that solid G tone is still kind of like in your ear. So that's what you're feeling at this point. Okay? So I'll bring Miranda back.
Sorry.
No, actually, though, this is perfect for like when you do like little one-off thing.
Sorry.
It honestly is.
Yeah, this is perfect for those little one-off conversations. That's why I kept trying to get that little pop-up thing to say headphones back on. I gotta get that to work. Okay. I'll figure it out at some point. You watch. I'll figure out this technology. So you're heading towards the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you still going to do that? You still want to open the door?
I definitely want to open the door.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really want to. Part of me is still a little bit concerned about you know, being surrounded by police and everything, but
okay. So
I need to check.
Miranda, what are you thinking when you see her heading towards the door?
I thought we were trying to not involve anyone else. Where are you going? What's going on? Fill me in. Don't leave me alone with this thing.
Oh gosh.
So how do you respond?
I'm sorry. I need to check. Just
Check what? Go check and figure out what you're doing. I'm very, very concerned at this point.
So you go to the door. So do you like open it wide, or are you just kind of taking a peek? What are you doing?
kind of taking a peek. I'm not gonna throw it wide.
All right. Now you were already kind of anticipating that weight against the door. You saw Miranda having to struggle against Sergeant Mornay's weight. But when you crack the door open, there's none of that. It actually opens easily, so you can just kind of peer outward. And when you look, there are 14 officers arrayed in a concentric circle, or a half circle, facing inwards towards the door, and they're standing there facing the door right now. All of them have that green glow in their eyes, but they're standing at basically like an attention, and they're facing inwards towards the door. And now Miranda, when you look back, when you're kind of glancing at what she's doing, you're not quite seeing out the door, but you do see this kind of green light that's bathing inward towards the small room you're in.
Okay. Joyeux, what's going on out there?
I don't entirely know.
I don't entirely know what's going on in here either.
It says these are its protectors.
Who's it?
It! In the
It's
cage!
talking to... Oh dear. Okay, well, can you actually talk to it? Because if so, why don't you ask it what we're supposed to do with it?
So, is that what you want to do?
Yeah. What should we do? Just at the cage.
All right. Do you close the door again, or do you leave it open, or?
I'll leave the door a little bit open. Because
Okay.
I think these, spooky, green, probably possessed guys aren't particularly going anywhere.
So, as you look out, or look back to the box, you kind of step away a little bit, and the door kind of cracks open just a little bit more. And Miranda, you see this array of police officers with glowing green eyes, all in a half circle, standing at attention, facing the doorway. You look back to the box and you ask, what is it? What do you want us to do? Right? Is that kind of what I want to make sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in that same kind of feel that you have right now, it's a language that you don't know, but you just kind of inherently understand it. It's that gut feeling I was talking about. That's how you're understanding this language. When it speaks, that's how you feel in response to the words. And it says, I desire my final freedom and my last greened morning.
Could you repeat that? Because that totally froze halfway through.
Dang it!
I desire something green morning, but I didn't even catch it all.
I
hate to ruin your dramatic
No,
moment,
it's because I was coming up with it on the fly. Now I can just say it straight through.
Technology!
So, okay, so you feel that, again, that kind of gut punch as it's speaking, and it says, I desire my freedom.
Freedom.
I desire my one final green morning.
So, okay. Did you repeat that?
So it desires its one final green morning.
Yeah.
Do we want to let it out? Well, I haven't heard you say anything yet, so I don't know if that's what's going on, but...
Well, I can repeat. It desires its last green morning.
Do we... does it sound like it's a evil thing, or just a trapped thing? Because we could let it out if we could figure out how to do it, if that's going to help, but not if we're releasing some evil spirit into the world. I most certainly don't know.
Well, judging by what you said to me, Jeff, I definitely don't feel that this is evil, right?
No.
If I'm associating it with what?
No, you don't get a sense of evil. You get a sense of existence, of being. It's almost kind of like thinking of, you know how you get to a point where you've enjoyed something for so long, but then you've kind of gotten to an age where you just no longer enjoy it, and it just becomes so much less because there's so much more for you to know of this world. And it just seems like this right here, what's before you, has kind of transcended the definition of good and bad. It lives more in the essence of pure feeling, pure emotion, pure, I don't want to say pure, but just that, it's living by feeling right now. And if you think about kind of like how the game, you're thinking about the mechanics of the game. You have the wheel that turns between chaos and or not chaos, but entropy and order. It feels really like it's closer towards the entropy side. And remember that with the way they have to build the game, it's not necessarily evil or good. It's just that's where its focus is. So that's kind of like a gamey way of talking about it, but within game, yeah, it's just, we were talking about barbarians and how they're just completely driven off of instinct, that sort of thing. That's kind of how this feels. It's just there's no I exist, and this is my next step.
The green morning is.
Yeah, the green morning is.
Okay. Joyeux, can you ask it how we can set it free?
Yeah. How can we set you free?
The emotion that you get back is to stand aside.
So we can just stand aside and let it go.
Do we need to open the door and let the protectors in? Or open the door and let it out?
It's the impression you get from it is that the door is not what's in its way.
I didn't really figure.
It's you two, both of you, and it actually holds. It's the feeling you get is like it's almost kind of like you've found something, you've done what was needed. Now your part is done.
Gotcha.
All right.
What do you suggest we do, Monsieur Joyeux? Should we step outside?
Our part is done. We just need to stay out of its way.
Okay. Are we holding it back in some way?
We must be.
Roll me give me a wits check, Miss Russell. I'll have you do this. Because the way I'm seeing you guys play your characters, I see like different perspectives from either of you. That's why I kind of formed it in this way. But should be the last one here. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get anything helpful.
Well, that's okay. This is actually I'm looking at it from the opposite angle than you'd think, because I'm trying to see if your wits are getting in the way of it. Because beforehand, if you remember, you got really good successes on those, and this time not so much. Mm-hmm. And Miranda, as you're kind of thinking about this, your mind goes back to the finding, right? Mm-hmm. And you combing through the notes of the archaeological dig and how it was brought about, that sort of thing. There was a notation in there that there were three of the diggers, three of the surveyors, not surveyors, but three of the diggers, the people who were doing the excavation, were killed in a mishap that there's brief notations in the rundown when you were looking at the manifest and you're looking at the specific object. There was a brief rundown of what happened, and it seemed that they were hired on last minute, and unfortunately were an unscrupulous lot. And while their lack of help in the dig was missed, their potential danger was not. Their potential for thievery, that sort of thing. So the notation there is that, it's kind of good that they're gone. But it seemed that as soon as they were gone, a new trio of excavators went in there and started dusting away at this particular tomb and found this particular box. And, again, as you were kind of outlining some of the notes and stuff that you read and whatever may have happened, there was a reason that they had to leave quick. And they were able to get into this area and come out of the area with no problem. And this trio of excavators has been with the Radcliffe concern for about 7 years and are known to be highly trustworthy, to the point that you've trusted them with artifacts to, your concern has trusted them with artifacts to be delivered in their hands.
Okay.
So yeah. So you're thinking about that, and you kind of flash back to what's happening here, and you're realizing that, it's not so much that you've done something wrong or right. You've almost served a purpose, it seems. There are those that write the messages, there's those who deliver the messages, and there are those who, receive the messages. So, all the myriad of steps that go along in between those points A and point B and point C or whatever, you've fulfilled your aspect.
Okay.
So it's kind of the feel that you get. As you're kind of your wits and your savvy and kind of get out of the way, you realize, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm kind of vibing what Ambrose is putting down here. I'm picking up what he's putting down at this point. So what do you guys do?
I'm tempted to leave.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I'm a little leery about the poor police officers, but I'm tempted to leave.
Okay. Enjoy. What do you
it's alright
think?
to just leave the box here?
I feel like if we take it with us, we're obstructing the thing even more. I mean, it's a highly valuable piece of archaeological treasure that I most certainly did not intend to part. Unless this spirit decides to vacate this particular treasure, I don't intend to take it with me.
I suppose that settles that then. If the box is empty when we next get to it, then I suppose that'd be a plus, but
I don't know. I'm really kind of puzzled by this whole thing.
not the only one.
Yeah. I have no idea what to do with this thing. I want it to go free. Like, that's what she's thinking, to go free, but she's also concerned a bit about the fact that they unlock this thing and potentially has taken over the minds of the other police officers.
Right.
Can you ask it to let them go, and when it goes about its merry way?
So as you voice that, and both of you hear that tone in your ear, Miranda, yours goes from the first tone to the second tone to a solid G tone. It's just kind of thrumming in your ear. So both of you, and the voice responds to your question, Miranda. How did you ask it again? I want to make sure I have it right.
I said, Could you ask it if it could leave the, people alone when it vacates the premises?
The response you get back is, their part has become larger.
Oh dear.
Oh boy.
That would be a no.
Nothing doing then?
Yeah.
It's the impression you get, again, you're getting that kind of like really raw emotional feel within you every time the voice speaks inside you. And this is something that you're picking up, Miranda, is that it's not speaking in a language you know, but you understand it.
Mm-hmm.
It says, there is greater fulfillment beyond.
Yes, but you didn't give them a choice. They may not want that greater fulfillment. They may have been perfectly fulfilled with their lives the way they were.
So you're thinking about that, and the camera kind of like in the audience's view blurs for a little bit, and it's almost like in the blink of an eye everything kind of rewinds all the way back until we get to that bench where you guys are both sitting down. And for the briefest of moments, we pause there just to kind of like get our bearings. And then it zips backwards in time again. And this time you are running in the rain, Miranda. You're running from one end of a particular neighborhood to another. And behind you, as we're seeing you kind of run by, that you're running towards the camera and you've got your coat huddled around you as you're running. And behind you, you see what looks like a pair of hooded lanterns that are looking after you, like kind of pointing their lights in certain directions, trying to find you. And you hear the whistle of a policeman's whistle, basically behind there. And just beyond that, you see the flaming lanterns of on a sign that shows the 212th precinct. And you see, again, you're just kind of seeing you run away. And as you're running, your heart's pounding and you're thinking, gosh, I can't believe it was the wrong one. I can't believe it was the wrong one. I've got to get to the right one. I've got to get to the right one. These guys behind me, they're just insane. And they're how can they be called police officers in this time and this day and age? And as you're running past, they lose you, and you manage, again, we kind of come back forward and you're back on the bench, and then we come back forward again and you're here. And the feeling that you're given right now is that memory kind of flashes through you is the same connection. That 212th precinct is the same connection that you get from the three dead excavators that were in your report. And the voice comes back in and says, this place is correct. This place has fulfillment. This place is purpose. And there's so kind of as an aside, there's when you were looking for some of the objects that had been missing from the shipment, there was a list that was given to you that said, here are the places that you need to go, but here are the places you need to avoid. And on that list, there was a set of 2 precincts and an investigative service that's connected to an art dealer that was given to you that said, do not go to these people. And perhaps in the midst of racing around town, that sort of thing, you may have transposed one of the numbers, because right now you're in the 221st precinct versus the 212th. And the 212th was on the list of definitely don't go to.
212th was a don't go to?
221 was a go to.
So we're in the right place or we're in the wrong place?
Now you are. But in that flashback, you were racing away from the wrong place, and you were saying to yourself, "Oh, I can't believe I went to the wrong one. The wrong one. Got to get over here."
Okay. So, oh gosh, I'm having a very hard time putting all these pieces together to make
And it's on the
sense
fly too,
of
so
it.
that doesn't help.
Wow.
Sorry. So what do you think, Joyeux? What are you thinking during this?
I'm getting connections of the dead quarter people to something going on now, but I just am lost at this point.
So, but I'm getting the same sense that she's getting from what it's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like whatever it's saying that these people are better off in its service than they are where they are now, or they are probably where they were before.
Right. There's you kind of get that, yeah.
Okay, glad you got that. Good.
It's also late too. So. But yeah, that's the impression you're getting.
That's what it's saying, Miranda. These people might be doing more good where they are now than they were before.
Okay, well, I don't have much better suggestion, and if you feel good about leaving them possessed by whatever spirit that we have unintentionally released, then so be it. Do you suggest that we leave this box here, or that we try to take it with us, or just leave it and leave them to go about their business?
Well, it might be best if we manage to remove the box from a scene where the people are collapsing, walking off in a green-eyed haze. I might as well ask the box again.
I'm tempted to just light the room on fire and run away.
Run away!
What happened?
Well, lighting the room on fire.
That's not normally my outlet, but I'm really running out of ideas at this point to get out of here and not leave a trail.
So, did you say you were kind of reaching out to touch the box, or what are you doing? Or the cube/sphere?
I'm not. I wasn't touching it.
Okay.
Maybe the protectors will take the box with it. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that's better that we leave it and we just get out of here.
I suppose it knows what's best for itself. God knows it's been making it.
Okay. So, what do you guys? So you guys are in agreement. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So as soon as you come to that agreement, one of the officers opens the door all the way and walks in slowly. Now, it seems that there's an awareness in his face, but there's also, again, that green glow is still there. And it does proceed over to the box and rests a hand on top of it and waits for a moment. And the box begins to shift and shimmer as the bands start to refold and the wood starts to reform until it collapses back down into the shape of the original box that you found.
Okay.
And the officer picks up the box, holds it kind of like out in front of him, and then turns around and heads out to the rest of the officers, who all gather around and they proceed to head towards the door.
Okay then. Monsieur Joyeux, I suggest we we make like a tree and leave. No, no, not really. She doesn't really say that, but that's
That would
it's 2 in the
actually be
morning, and that's
hilarious.
what just
That'd be
came to my
hilarious.
mind. That we vacate the premises as quickly and quietly as possible, so as not to draw any attention to ourselves, and get out of here.
Never have I heard a better suggestion, ma'am.
So as you guys are starting to leave, you realize that there are other officers that are still out here, but they're unconscious at this point. There's as you're heading towards that front door, so you're kind of like heading off in this direction here to where you're going to be heading for that front door. You notice that there's actually or you notice that there's a door that's open here as well. Where's my pinger? There's a door that's open here as well. And somebody has collapsed there in front of it. But all of them it doesn't look like anybody's dead. There's no bleeding or anything. It's just that they are unconscious.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume that once this thing is gone for a while, everyone will wake up. That's what I'm going to assume to make myself feel better. And I will watch the newspapers for the next several days to ensure that was the case.
I was going to say,
same here. Same here.
So you depart the police station, the 221st precinct, and out into the rain. It's still a heavy downpour at this point, and off into the night of London. And a couple days later, it's not been like published broadly in the news that there was some kind of an attack on a local constabulary, but there have been reports of a reshuffling of police officers. Considered it a training exercise, that sort of thing, to have them removed from one precinct and put into another. But it seems there was this reporter feels that there's been quite an influx of officers at the 221st, as they seem to have been short-handed the last few days, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, you don't see anything about untimely deaths, that sort of thing. But there has been an uptick in missing persons in the neighborhood.
Darn, I was kind of hoping that we might have a rogue police force out there doing some good, but, that's probably too much to ask.
It's only been a couple days, and you never know. Up to you guys how you want to have that play out. So.
That'd be nice.
All right.
All right.
So we'll close up the case of the green glow, and that really quick off the fly. That was fun. I liked seeing how you guys reacted. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you kind of stumped me there at the end. I think my brain's too tired to come up with any connections.
Yeah, you know what? Me too. I went with like a particular goal, and I think, and you guys probably out there in the interwebs will probably notice this, that I kind of had a particular goal in mind because I knew the time and we wanted to try and close it out, and kind of practicing the whole one-shot business. But yeah, when you start getting towards the end and you have that particular goal in mind, I think I might have been a little bit more flexible with how it could have resulted, but I was concerned about how it might draw forward. So
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but I think the main thing that I got out of it was seeing you guys in action and how you interact, your different responses to things. Uh-huh. So I hope I picked up on a lot of that stuff that you guys were giving out. So
yep.
In any case, so for all of y'all out there, we'll probably have done some edits on this to bring down the episodes to half-hour chunks. But thanks a lot for sticking around for this one-off as we kind of explore a couple of the characters in the group. And our next set of episodes will hopefully have the party reunited, or at the least we'll hopefully hear from some. So thanks again for stopping in and playing around with us and getting to know Victoriana, and hope you guys are out there gaming as well. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.